tonight and tomorrow, and then going into Friday, a lot of that's going to get into Houston. We're going to get some rain out of this in Houston, Galveston. We'll go over that in detail as we move along. I wanted to contrast that real quick with what it looks like outside this early evening in Houston. It is hazy. That is dust from the Sahara Desert. So we've had a dusty, dry day today. We're going to have another dusty, I think, dry day tomorrow. And then the rain comes in from that tropical swirl as we head into Friday. So here's what I'm looking at. Hot, humid through Thursday. Rain chances arrive Friday, and they begin in the morning. Friday morning may be quite wet. Then locally heavy downpours possible off and on through the day on Friday. It'll be nuisance street ponding and street flooding that will be the greatest threat for we here in Houston and southeast Texas. As far as the tropical disturbance, that's it. This is the visible satellite. I wanted to show it to you. We're losing the light of the day, so we're losing the imagery, but over the past 6 hours, that's the wave. Let me redraw that for you. So surface winds have come up and down, but they don't close off an area of low pressure. A closed off area of low pressure would be upgraded to a tropical depression. That just simply hasn't happened. We have an open wave, and the wave axis is right here. And right now they're actually marking it right there, just over the open water, just off the beaches of Florida. So basically it's still interacting with land. It's been interacting with land all day today. That is what has kept it from developing into a stronger circulation. And most likely it will stay a disorganized wave as it moves toward Louisiana tonight. And they've got the flood watches up. That's the green area. Those are flash flood watches that are in effect right now for the New Orleans area and the greater southeast Louisiana area, also the coast of Mississippi. Not just a flood watch with that little green box, now a flood advisory for the coastal counties there of Mississippi, as the trough axis of this right here, the surface trough axis, is separated from the heavier rain. The heavier rain is all way off to the east. That's because it's encountering a lot of wind shear. At the mid-levels, you've got wind coming in, blowing across the system. That's the other impediment to it developing, interaction with land and wind shear, and it's just kind of ripping the storm apart as it tries to get better organized. But that sends the rain well ahead of the center of the trough axis, and that's why they've already got heavy rain in New Orleans. This is the latest radar loop heading into southeast Louisiana. There's New Orleans, there's Lake Pontchartrain, and you see Biloxi's had some heavy rain as well. Very wet drive down I-10, and it's going to be a wet evening and a wet night in New Orleans tonight. They've got that round of rain coming in. They've got another one back behind it, moving through Mobile Bay, Mobile, Alabama, and off the beaches there. And all of that is actually will head through Louisiana and into southeast Texas and Houston as we get into Friday. Here's a little bit bigger picture. Officially, this does have a name. It is Invest 93L. When we get a wave that is getting better organized like this one did, and maybe one that turns into a depression or a storm, they label it an Invest, and what that allows them to do is start running their tropical spaghetti models off of the system. If this does have any wind with it, we've had sustained gusts at 35 at times. It really is not a wind maker. What there is of this is moving west at 12. Yesterday evening, we dropped down to 1,013 millibars. We're now at 1,011 millibars. Really got to get down to 1,009 or below to start thinking you're getting a tropical depression forming in that. So pressures really have not fallen much today with this at all. Were this to get out over open water, it's got a lot of very warm water to work with. We've been talking about this factor, plenty of energy out here. But again, really water temperatures, anything 80 or above can support strong hurricane formation. What you need then are light upper level winds, no wind shear, and you need no interaction with land. And we have both of those going on. We have wind shear and interaction with land. So even with warm water, this one is unlikely to develop. This is a look at the wind flow aloft. This is the core of the shear. It's to the south, but it is feeling some of that shear. And so you can actually see there's the forecast to go into Thursday, the trough axis over New Orleans, heavier rain across south central and southwest Louisiana. And then Friday, trough axis over Louisiana and rain out to the west over Houston, Galveston, as the upper level winds blow convection off the developing trough axis into our area. Again, this is how wind shear works, or a developing hurricane works with sheared and unsheared environment. Hurricanes need to be stacked vertically, straight up and down, to strengthen. when they are tilted over, it disrupts the circulation. So an unsheared environment allows this perfectly up and down vertical column through the developing storm. You get inflow at the surface, it rises, you get outflow up top, and you get a strengthening, well-defined circulation. With wind shear, like we have right now at the mid-levels, it's not just tilting the storm over like in this picture, but it's actually tearing those thunderstorms off 100 miles to the west of the center. So it's just completely disrupting any type of vertical stacking that needs to take place to get a system to get better organized and formed. I mentioned it's an invest, so we've been running the tropical spaghetti plots. The couple things with the model runs here, the darker lines are all the global models, the European, the American model and such, and they have been very well in agreement of moving this west and turning it north through central Louisiana. All the white lines are all the individual tropical models, BAMs, H-Wharf, if you're familiar with those. And they've got a little bit more spread to them, but not much. They really have been all in agreement that we're going that way. We're going west and we're going to go north, probably before the Trough Access Center gets into southeast Texas. But as we've mentioned, the shear is going to blow a lot of that storm activity in our way anyway. So modeling, Thursday morning, rain, scatter showers again over New Orleans, a wet night and a wet morning in the Big Easy. They get a wet day across the southern half of Louisiana. This is Thursday afternoon. I think we stay dry. We'll take a closer look at our modeling in just a minute, but in general, it's going to be Friday that although the trough axis is here, there's the wave axis, shear is blowing the convection over toward Houston and southeast Texas. So a messy, stormy day at times for Houston on Friday. Here's a closer view. Tomorrow morning, southeast Texas, just hot and muggy. We'll start at 80, humid, summer day. And we get a summer day. Now we'll see clouds. It should be an interesting day. We should get some high clouds coming in from east to west, mixing with the dusty sky. And I think rain chances are about 0, but they're not 0. I see right there the model's telling us that there might be an isolated shower somewhere in southeast Texas tomorrow afternoon. Rain chance will be less than 10%, but it's possible we could have an isolated shower tomorrow. Moisture will be increasing from east to west, but most of the rain stays in Louisiana on Thursday. Friday morning before sunrise, that moisture rolls in. Models have been very consistent in giving us this rain activity, 5 a.m. So a wet start to your Friday morning. And then I'll just let this go, but actually let me walk through this. First of all, just watch. So it just stays raining off and on through the day Friday. That's the whole day. I'll take you through some time points here. Going into 10:30 in the morning, very wet in large part of southeast Texas, especially Houston, Harris County down to the coast. That's 10:30 in the morning Friday. We'll go into lunchtime, 1 o'clock. Still a good chance for rain showers. Maybe it's a better chance along the coast as the model suggests, but notice even up in here, moisture will be increasing. So we're going to start to get warmer temperatures where a little sun comes out downtown up to Livingston. That's by 1 o'clock, and then watch what happens as we head into the afternoon. That's 5 p.m. That's a batch of potentially heavy rain and thunderstorms with some heat in a tropical atmosphere. So there could definitely be some pockets of heavy rain and thunder showers as we go through the day, off and on all day on your Friday. That's Friday at 7 p.m. Still a good chance for rain and thunder showers 7 p.m. Friday. Tropical atmospheres do this. They'll just keep going off and on all day. What about the entire state? So we know we've had all the flooding here. Kerr County and the Hill Country just devastated with flooding. So we don't need, the last thing we need is for tropical moisture from the system to go and cruise across into central Texas. And quite often that is what happens. Not this time. 8:30 Friday morning, there we are getting wet, dry out there over the Hill Country. We go into Friday afternoon, and yes, we get wet, southeast Texas, Longview, Tyler, Lufkin, Houston, down to Galveston. But most of Texas stays dry as the moisture from the trough axis is going to go north. And that's why you see this wave of rain being pushed north. So they get rain up into Arkansas more than we do into West Texas and Central Texas on Friday. That's the silver lining with this is that this is not forecast to come into Texas and rain us. Quite often, we've had some of our worst river flooding in July in Texas because of weak tropical systems that come in off the Gulf and move into west central Texas, and they just cause flooding rains. So, you know, this could have been a much more serious system than it's going to be for Texas. It's going to Saturday morning, still some lingering moisture, East Texas, Houston, Galveston, dry for the hill country. Saturday afternoon, I'm so happy to see dry for the hill country, more rain for the mid-Mississippi Valley from the moisture from this thing. So we're not going to get a tropical system flooding Texas even more. I'm very, very happy to see that. This has been a really good dry run. What to do, monitor the forecast, checking your evacuation plan, talking about where you would go if you're on the coast, and if a big hurricane came, where would you go? What would you take with you? Do you have all the things you need if you were going to stay in a shelter for your pets and whatnot? Hurricane plan for inland areas. You basically camp out at your house, probably without electricity for a while if a big one came in. And of course, we're doing these updates literally all day long. I think 5 updates during the day on Plus. Just a great resource. And then one more look at the bigger picture. There's the developing system tomorrow, high pressure dominating the state of Texas on Thursday, and that is what is going to help block that low and keep it in Louisiana, moving here instead of into Texas on Friday. That is where we stand. Next live updates at 10 o'clock on KHOU 11 News at 10. And then, of course, we're on 5 to 7 in the morning, Cheetah and Jen, weather and traffic, and then that continues live on Plus 7 to 9. So plenty of more opportunities over the next 12 hours to get lots of updates on what's going on with that system and looking ahead to the weekend forecast, which again looks kind of wet for us the first half, but not so bad for Texas. That's where we stand. We'll see you for our next live broadcast on KHOU 11 News at 10. See you.